that you can use in order to create yourself wealth in the best way possible. So here's exactly what we'll be covering. Some of what we'll be covering: the fundamental business models and principles, a deep dive on how to pick the best business model, and how business models work together. As a teaser, the business model you start with may not be the one that gets you $1 million. It probably won't be the one that gets you $1 million. And this is a huge problem that I see people make. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more later on, but they see business models as this has to be the business model that instantly gets me to millionaire status. Otherwise, why would I start it? But we'll handle that once we get there. Fundamental rule number 1 is the best business model myth. Here's how it usually goes down. You stumble across some guru with a Ferrari, a rented Lambo in Dubai, and a beachfront laptop lifestyle, probably a Miami balcony boy. If you go to Miami and look up at the balconies, you probably see 90% of people just up there with their phones talking about they have some money glitch or something. They're absolutely convinced that their particular business model, whether it's drop shipping, affiliate marketing, or course creation, or whatever is trending right now, is unquestionably the best way to make money online. And guess what? Their pitch is always the same. All other business models are outdated, too hard, too expensive, oversaturated. My way is the only smart path to success. And by jumping on this unknown opportunity early, you can take advantage. But think of it this way. If there was truly one perfect business model that worked best for everybody, wouldn't we all be using it by now? Wouldn't that be the only type of business left standing? But here's the cold hard truth that the gurus won't tell you. Different business models shine in different situations. What works brilliantly for one person might be a complete disaster for somebody else. The one perfect model narrative. Look, there's a simple reason why most online gurus insist that their method is universally superior. It's because they're selling you something. Think about this for a second, right? If a guru admits, well, my approach works great for people with specific background, skills, resources, but might be terrible for someone in your situation, let's be honest, that doesn't make for a very compelling sales pitch. They want to tell you it's for everybody, it's for anyone, and anyone can make a ton of money with it without any work, without any effort, in zero amount of time. It's much more profitable to claim that they've discovered the ultimate business model that works for everyone, every time, everywhere. The truth is that business success depends on matching the right model to your specific situation, skills, and resources. But of course, that doesn't sell as many 2,000 courses or mastermind mentorships. So that's why most people are not going to have that narrative and not going to actually tell you and be upfront with you and be actually transparent with you. But I already got money, so I'm just going to tell you how it is. And it really is this. Look, nowhere in this video am I ever going to tell you that making money is extremely easy. It's simple. You won't have to work hard for it. You won't have to sacrifice it. No, you're going to have to work hard. You're going to have to hustle. You're going to have to understand there's no such thing as passive income. There's no magic tool or AI agent bot thing that you could just buy and it will just create an infinite money glitch and create money over and over and over and over and over again. It simply does not exist, because if it did, everyone would do it. A little bit of elbow grease. Methods I'm about to show you in this video, and you will get there. Again, it's worth it. So to put this into a visual model, you want something that the market will pay you for, something that you're at least somewhat interested in, and something that you already have somewhat of an existing skill around. So to give you an example, I started with copywriting. Now, the market loves copywriters because every single business needs one. Period. And then there's also a ton of opportunity because you can start with copywriting and move on into other marketing aspects. Was I that interested in copywriting? I really wasn't that interested in copywriting. Did I have an existing copywriting skill? No, not at all. I wasn't really a good writer at all, but it was still able to work for me, partly just because the market demand was so high, and because I wasn't not interested in it. I was just somewhat interested in it. And I was pretty decent with words. I'm overall pretty articulate. So that one was just all right as well. So I guess you could argue I was in one of the green or yellow zones here. Now, you probably don't want to be in one of the red zones. For example, you can make money with it, right? The market's good, but you're like terribly uninterested in it. You hate the idea of it. You don't want to do it. And you're also like, it doesn't appeal to your skills whatsoever. Then you'd be in a red zone. Now, I will say, if you are in a yellow or green zone, then just pick it. Pick it, stick with it, commit to it. Yellow zone is fine. Green zone is also even better. Ideally, you want to be in the green, but you can also just be in the yellow. So here's the real determining factors that go behind picking the best business model. So instead of asking what's the best business model, the smarter question is what's the best business model for me right now? And to be honest, it is not a simple one-size-fits-all answer. It depends on your current skills. So the fastest path to profit usually involves monetizing skills you already have or are at least interested in, rather than learning an entirely new one. Now, again, in my case, I did have to learn an entirely new skill, so it's not the end of the world. So let's be honest. If you're sitting there saying, I don't have any skills that can translate to money, dude, I didn't have any. I knew how to shoot guns, I knew how to build houses, and I knew how to watch and look out to see if there's any crime happening. And if it happened, I knew how to write it down. Those were my jobs. Those are what I knew how to do. That's all I knew how to do. So none of my skills were transferable into business, but I still started from scratch, and it wasn't the end of the world, especially with copywriting nowadays, is because you can just use AI in order to do a lot of the copy for you, and it makes up for the knowledge gap that you have. Now, obviously, you can't just go to AI, tell it to make you some copy and sell that, because that's just not going to be very good. But we're going to get to that and how to do it later on. But I just want to paint a picture of my own experience, because I know it's going to help you guys, because again, I was sitting on the other side of the screen in your exact same position in the chair, watching some other dude talk about how to make money and just learning and being a sponge as well. So I know that I would have appreciated that when I was first starting, so you guys probably will as well. Next is your available resources. So some models require significant upfront investment, while others can start with almost nothing. This will play a huge part in the path that you choose and start with. Now, another thing to note and recognize is that nobody watching this video is like probably rolling around in money, right? It just has the Benjamin Franklins hanging out of their pocket. If they did, I mean, like, that's like a professional Olympic swimmer watching a YouTube video called like How to Swim for Beginners. It's not a mismatch. So the reason that you're here tells me that investing in something when you don't even know that there's going to be a guaranteed payoff is probably not what you want to do. So we're going to talk about that and go into that a little bit more as we go. Next is your timeline to revenue. Now, I get it, bro. All right. The quicker, the faster, the easier, the better. But with that being said, the question of how important the quickness is to you is something else we'll dive into. If you're looking to make money soon, not fast, not get rich quick, but soon, a business model with a 12-month runway to profitability isn't going to work no matter how perfect it might be otherwise. Next is your risk tolerance. So some business models have higher ceilings, but also have higher failure rates. Your personal comfort with uncertainty should factor into your choice. I'll give you an example. Being like a crypto trader or a day trader. So you have to start with thousands of dollars to begin with. Otherwise, you have no business even doing it. And then on top of that, you have the ability to risk the money that you have in there. So you have a life savings of 15K, for example. You're probably not going to lose that whole 15K, but there's no reason why you can't turn that real quickly into like 10 or 5K. And how would that feel if your whole life savings went down to 5K? You're not profitable. And then you can either choose to keep going back to the casino where you lost it all, being that guy who's revenge trading, being like, yeah, bro, I'm going to make it all back. Or you can take your losses and leave the casino. But either way, I mean, my friend, I don't recommend it as a beginner. Don't worry, we're going to get into every single make money online business model, but that's one of the ones that beginners love to start with the most, and it's the most beginner appealing. But again, they don't factor in the risk, which is why, unfortunately, I've seen dudes, bad things have happened. I might as well say it. I met a guy online and he was working Uber. And what happened was he had tens of thousands of dollars in trading. He got into a deal and then it went south really, really, really fast. He didn't have a stop loss. He didn't have his things set in place to limit the amount of money he lost, I'll put it that way. And his investment was down bad, but he didn't want to take it out because once you take it out, it's real. So what he did is he left it in there and just worked Uber for the time being. So he was like professional trader and then the next day, Uber delivery driver. Now, I don't want any of you guys to fall into something like that. But again, risk is something that you can take into account. So for example, if you're going to be a remote salesperson, there's not really any risk there. You're not going to lose money working for businesses and selling things for them. Same with being a copywriter, same with being a marketer, same with being a service provider of any sort, building your own agency. These things, you don't really have that much risk. So it's something else to factor into the equation. And then next is your personality, who you are, what things you value, what things you're good at, what things you want to do. Introverts and extroverts often thrive in completely different businesses and business environments. Working against your natural tendencies creates unnecessary friction. Now, with that being said, I'm an extreme extrovert, which most people don't even believe. I tell, like, especially the people that I watch my content, they're like, bro, you're literally the most charismatic, enthusiastic, and articulate teacher that I have. You're going to sit here and tell me that you're an introvert. Bro, I'm more introverted than you even understand, bro. You don't even get how introverted I am, dude. I have the smallest social battery you've probably ever seen in your life. At the same time, I'm not really the super average example. Again, I went into a bunch of things that probably weren't the quote unquote best for me. I didn't know very much about the skills. I also am out here with a whole YouTube channel, a whole personal brand, but still an introvert. And I just want that example to go to show to you guys that, again, even if you don't match up completely with what you want to do, your extroversion is also a skill. Articulation is a skill. Being on camera is a skill. I started just like everybody else. And talking to an inanimate object is weird. It is unhuman. It is not a human thing to do. And it takes skill, it takes practice to do well. But it just goes to show that life is just a game of accumulating skills. You accumulate the skills over time, and